Perfect.
Okay. Do you want to start or should I?
Are we gonna do the introduction?
No, I wouldn't do it about us again. I would just like say like, hey guys, oh, I'm so excited. Like I'm gonna ask Ariella so much about human design and like couples today. Like, or you can say like, I'm so happy to answer all the questions. Like I don't mind who starts.
I guess yeah. You start. You start.
Okay. Hi, guys. So I'm so excited because today I get to ask Gabriella any question I want about human designs and relationships because we're both like kind of obsessed with relationships dynamic and how we can like make the best relationship happen. But she has this amazing tool of human design, and I have super little knowledge about it. So I'll ask her anything I want to know so you know it too now. Thank you so much for telling me all of this.
Of course, of course. I'm so happy to answer all your guys' questions and yeah, make our relationships better with human design.
Yeah. Okay, before we start, why did you choose to work with human design?
Oh, great question. So I had been searching for a lot of different, spiritual tools and other tools, self-help tools, and to better understand, there's hexagram and you have human design, and there's astrology, and there's many, many like enneatypes as well. Like that's a great one. And so, I had obviously had gone into all of those, and I was always obsessed with like enneatypes and being like, oh, like what's my perfect match and who's my soulmate and how can I know that this person is meant for me, and I would go down the rabbit hole. And a few years back, a friend of mine told me about human design. I had already like gotten into astrology a little bit because human design combines astrology as well. And so I had already gotten a little bit into astrology, and I was like really interested in all of that. And she told me about human design, and I looked it up. I put my profile information in. And for those of you that don't know, you have to like put in your birth date, the time, and where you were born, and you get like your graphic for human design. And I put all of that information in, and I saw the graphic, and I was like, whoa, like, what is this? Because when you first see it, you're like, what is this? There's all these numbers and colors and charts and forms. I'm sure like Paula, you like felt the same thing when you saw your human design for the first time too. And you're just like, what is this? So I love also, I'm very scientific and I have a very mental, I like investigating also and getting into all the different subjects. And it was so logical in a way. I was like, oh, this is logical. Like this is a logical system. And there was so much information. So I was like, oh my God. And I always get so excited when there's so much information and something I'm interested about. I'm just like, let me dive in. I want to learn all about it. So I think I spent like a whole afternoon just being like, what is human design? All the videos on YouTube, all the different web pages on the internet. I was like searching it all. And then finally, after like a year of kind of, getting all the knowledge by myself, I was like, wow, I was learning so much about myself and I was understanding other people so much. And I was like, oh my God, I need to get certified because I want to get into all the nitty gritty. I want to know all about human design. So I got certified, and that's how I became a human design reader.
That is so amazing. I think it's so beautiful if we combine different tools. And I think, like, in general, like, almost all the tools lead you to the same outcome. It's just a different language. And I feel like it's so beautiful if you find your language and you just feel like, oh my God, finally I understand it. Finally, someone tells me what it means and stuff. So I think it's just so beautiful. And like human design and psychology just go so well hand in hand from what I've heard. And I think that's just such a beautiful new way of like teaching clients and being with clients and supporting them. And I mean, I witnessed in our personal conversations how you handle my emotions and if I go through something or if I have to deal with something. And I think you have such a beautiful ability to do that, and also the tools you have are so handy. And I think like any client you will ever have is going to be so amazed by your work. So guys, I can really highly recommend her. But now let's dive in the questions about human design.
Woohoo.
I have when you picture your human design chart, maybe I don't know if you see mine. So, but you see a human, and in this human, there are like different kinds of like portals, and those portals, it's completely wrong terminology I'm saying right now, but like they're different, like like circles and stuff, and either there's energy in it or not and stuff. So what does it mean if those different things in your body that you have in your human design chart, if they have color or if they don't have color? What does that mean?
Yeah, no, I mean, that's a really important question. But so, human design, you have all these different centers, they're called in human design, and they're either defined or undefined, is what they're the terminology in human design. So, when you look at your human design chart for the first time, there's going to be little centers in different shapes, and some of them have color and some of them are blank. And so all of those centers are connected to the chakra system. And so, as we know, we all have the seven chakras when we, in normal terminology, but connected to human design, we actually have nine centers because the solar plexus was actually divided into two centers. And so, because we went from survival mode in like this before the 1700s, we were just surviving. It was more survival. The human was just surviving, food, water, sex, just the basics, right? And so, as we've developed, our consciousness has evolved, and now we're more sentimental, we're more connected to the heart, and the solar plexus divided it in two. And so that's why we're not just going out and killing someone on the street because because we can think, we have consciousness, and we're emotional beings. And it's actually said that in 2027 we're entering a paradigm shift, and so there's going to be a new human called the rave human. And so the centers are going to keep on dividing because we become more conscious as we evolve as humans.
Oh,
So that's interesting. But to answer your question of all the different centers, so when you have a defined center in your chart, it means that that energy is connected to you, and that it's a place that you don't struggle with in life. It's like you have a limited amount of energy and you don't struggle with it. Like, for example, the throat center is one of the centers in human design. And if you have it defined, you're going to have an easy time talking, you're going to have an easy time expressing yourself, your opinions. It depends. Sometimes we can be in the negative side of that, and even though it's defined, maybe your whole life you had someone telling you don't talk, don't speak, don't express yourself, so that person's going to have problems with that center. But if no one told you anything like that, and you're expressing that center in its highest form, you're going to be really able to talk and express yourself, and really good with flow and words. And someone that has it undefined and it's blank, they're going to be like an antenna for all the information outside of themselves. So that's the biggest difference. When it's defined, you're speaking your own energy, and when it's not defined, you're picking up the energy from the external world. So someone with an undefined throat would be feeling this pressure from other people to speak words or to speak certain things. So for an undefined throat, like for example, I'm an undefined throat, and it took me a long time to be like, why do I feel pressure when I'm with a group of people of like, oh, I need to talk, or I need to make myself feel heard or seen because people were talking, talking, talking. But when I learned that I had an undefined throat and I need to say what is not being said in the room when the time is appropriate, it took that
mm,
pressure off of me because I was like, I'm going to say what needs to be said in the right moment.
mm.
That's it. And the defined throats, they're going to talk and talk and talk and talk, and they're going to have their moment. But I don't need to be that way. I'm different.
Okay. So if we think about it in a partnership,
Yeah.
is it good if we both have the same definition, or should it be like one is defined and one isn't?
So with partnerships, it's not as important because what happens in a partnership, because so human design is an energetic circuit. So you think about your house when you turn on the light, and for that light to turn on, there needs to be, all the cables need to be connected, and there is the energetic circuit to be like, okay, on, and that light turns on. So with our partners, our charts combine, and we create a new chart, a new energy. So for example, if your partner has a undefined throat and you have a defined throat, Well, first of all, it's good to know that in general, that like, oh, they want to talk more and I don't, and that's okay. And it helps you. But when you're together, your throat is also going to be defined in a way because you're picking up their energy.
Mm.
And so what also happens, you can look at your combined chart to see sometimes all the centers are connected between both of you, and sometimes they're not. So, what does that mean? That means that maybe your throat together is defined, but it's not connected to the rest of the body. So, maybe that's why you guys have a hard time communicating with each other because you guys all have all these emotions in the lower parts of the body, the identity center, which we'll have to go through them, all of them. But but there's all these other centers at the bottom, and they might be connected, but the energy is not reaching up. So
Mm.
that's why sometimes with a partnership, it's like, oh, why do I have a hard time communicating with this person? Or like, why does it not flow? And that's because maybe the throat isn't connected to the rest of the body.
Okay, so it doesn't really matter the definition between partnerships because there are different types of like information that flow into it, and it can be a good thing, but it also can be a bad thing. So I shouldn't make my decision if I want to be with someone out of how defined their centers are, right?
No, 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 no. I think the most important thing, and what I love about human design is it doesn't say like, oh, this is the type of person you need to be with, or this is the type of person. It basically shows you how the energy is moving between two people. And it doesn't have to be better or worse. It's just so you can better understand what's happening between two people. And it's not like, oh, now I can't be with you because you're a certain type, you're a projector, you're a manifestor, or you have this defined center or this profile. There are things that are more compatible, especially with profiles, but it doesn't need to define our decisions and if we're with someone or not.
Okay. And what is it about profiles that would be a smarter or not so smart decision to be with someone?
To be with someone, that's a great question. So with profiles, well, first I'll explain it so if someone doesn't know what a profile is. So the profile part of human design is like our personality. It's what we've come here to present to the world and what we're here to also help other people with. And so there's two numbers in human design. And so it can be like 1 3 or 5 2 or 4 6. And it's when you see your chart, you're gonna see those two numbers. And the first one is your conscious part of you. And the second number is the unconscious part of you. So what does that mean? The first part of you that's conscious is part of your personality. That you're like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna describe your profile. Like tell me what's your profile?
I 1 3, I think.
1 3.
Yeah, 1 3. Yeah,
One
it
three.
is.
So for example, like the one part of you is you're the conscious of that. That's the investigator.
Mhm.
And the investigator is the one that always needs to you always have like a pen and a notepad and you're going to be taking notes and you're going to be organizing everything. And if you find a new topic, you're going to research. You're going to be like, let me look this up and let me read all the studies and let me go down this rabbit hole. You want the information. You're going to investigate it. And you're really conscious of that part of you that really likes to investigate. But then the 3 side is the heretic, and the heretic is the one that it makes and breaks bonds. So you're just always like throughout your whole life, you have had a lot of experiences that have been very intense, and you've like fallen down, like you've messed up and you've like had to find your way and you've messed up again. And you've known a lot of people throughout your life and you've made and broken bonds. But because you're here to experiment life. Like
Mhm.
you're not only here to just study it, which is part of your one. So there's a bit of a clash between the two numbers and the part of you that's like, oh, I need to understand it mentally. And the part of you that's like, oh, no, you just have to live it. Like I'm going to mess up. Like no matter how much investigation I do, I need to mess up and learn about it. And so that's the part of the profiles with you. Like for example, a really like a beautiful profile for you to have would be if your partner was like a 3-6. So it's the second number when that's the first number. It's like you're unconscious. You see your unconscious and his conscious. So they're like,
Mm-hmm.
and that's like a really really good partnership. And so all the numbers, they're harmonious. So you have 1 through 6 lines, and they have harmonies between the lines. And
Mm-hmm.
so the harmonious lines, which I'm going to tell you right now. I know them by memory, but I don't want to. I want to say them right. Okay, so we have. Okay, the harmonious lines, they're always. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 1 is harmonious with the 4, 1 and 4. And then we have the 2 with the 5 and the 3 with the 6.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have like a 3 in your profile and your partner has a 6, you're going to have like a harmonious relationship or part of it. If
Okay.
if you have a 1 and they have a 4, then that's going to be a harmony.
Okay. So I just looked it up. My partner has, so I'm 1-3
Yeah.
and he is 6-3.
Oh, and you're a 1-3 and he's a 6-3.
Yeah.
Ah, that's interesting. So you both have the 3 part of experimenting life, of like all those different points where you guys have both fallen down and made mistakes. You both really connect with that. And that's both of your
Mm-hmm.
unconscious part of you.
Mm-hmm.
And a really interesting fact also about the 6 line, if you have a 6 line in your profile, it's it's said in human design that you're like meant to find your soulmate as a 6 line. Like you're here and you're going to find them.
Oh, so I'm his soulmate?
So it seems like you guys are meant.
I better hope I am.
You're like, it's me. But you guys are so similar that it has to be, because you guys had all that different backgrounds. And you guys, when you guys met, were like, oh my God, like we're so similar. We've had so many like similar life experiences.
Yeah, it's insane. Like, you guys trauma bonding on a different level. If you're not trauma bonding as in that's your bond, but if you like had so many similar experience that you overcame and then you can like now, like, come together and make the best out of it, I think that's just so beautiful because if I would date someone who never had anything in life, no trauma, I would be obviously very happy for them. But like I couldn't relate if they would tell me, for example, the worst thing that ever happened to me is that my dog died. I would be like, obviously that's a very sad thing and I'm very, very sorry that that happened to you, but that's not a deepness of sadness that you will ever feel if I feel sad about something. And I always needed to feel completely understood in a relationship, and I feel like through our previous experiences we really could connect on that. And yeah.
No,
So
100%. I mean, it's so important. I think that's why, like, with the profiles, what I've seen is usually we find a partner that has something similar to us, either like same type, like the types in human design, which is like generator, manifester, which that explains your aura in human design. Usually
mhm,
those are similar, or your profile, or even your authority, which is where you make decisions from. Usually there's something similar that like
mhm,
helps you connect to them,
mhm,
especially with the profiles. Like what you just said like makes so much sense because you've gone through so much as a 3 line. Like you've experienced some things that other people have not, and he has too. So you guys both can really 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 connect on like that deep life experience of like we've had
mhm,
some things happen to us and we get each
mhm.
other. And I think that's just so important. Like we have to have compatibility in relationships. Like it's important because if you don't have a partner that can understand you, it's just not the same. You can't reach the same level of depth.
Yeah.
And I think that's, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So if I would now be single and if I would meet someone, like obviously the most important thing is how you feel about them. Like, let's assume we all know the logical basic steps to get to know someone. Like that, leave that in the past because we're like aware. So now I met this person, I really like that person, and I want to be with that person. If I would now pull up the charts between us, and they would tell me, you guys are in for a ride, what would you tell me as my like psychologist coach how to deal with that?
Like you're in for a ride as in like it's going to be really bad, or as in it's going to be really good, or just in
Well,
general?
I mean, you said there's no good or bad, so it's just like it's basically not compatible. Like you're in for a ride. What you make out of it is up to you, but like it's not as like, kind of like twin flame soulmate type of thing. Like you're not soulmates because everything is perfect. You're like more twin flame, like it's gonna, like if you want, it's gonna be beautiful, but it's yeah.
Ooh, that's a hard question. I mean, there's obviously so many factors into it, but I'm trying to think of all the different couples I've helped or different people I've seen. The most misaligned, in my opinion, that what I've seen is basically if you're not the same type, like for example, a projector, it's like really conditioned, and for example, like a manifester together. That's really
Mm,
conditioned. So a manifester, for example, they're like the king energy in human design. They like inform and they're just like, you do this, you do that, like not in a bad way, but they're not here to work. They're here to like gather a good group and be really powerful in like what they're doing, right? So that's and manifestors can get really angry if they are not aligned. And projectors are here to be the guides, and they're kind of like the archetype of little bird that like sits above and like sees everything, and they're here to guide, and they're like really important. But when they're conditioned and they're not in their projector energy and they're like waiting for the invitation and they're in their correct energy, like if those two come together, it's like chaos because the manifestor is just angry, and the projector, if the projector doesn't know they need to wait for the invitation, right? I mean, it could be beautiful if they're both healthy because the manifestor can invite the projector in and be like, hey, like let's do this, and the projector is going to do it. But if you don't know your human design, if you don't know like if you're in your correct strategy, if you're making the right decisions, if you're conditioned, right? Because the human design, we talk a lot about conditioning, which is all the different voices in your head that are making you act a certain way that aren't yours.
mhm,
So all this conditioning. So I would say that can be a pretty intense match. Because usually if you're the same type, like a generator with a generator, a projector with a projector, a manifester with a manifester, like they're gonna understand each other. There are some
mhm,
really great compatibilities, like for example, well, this is interesting. Rahururu, which is the creator of human design, he said like manifestors and generators were like a horrible match. But I don't believe that. I think anyone can make anything work. But basically he said because there was too much karma between them, because the manifestors were the kings and the generators were the workers. So it was like too karmic. Like the manifestors
mm,
telling you what to do.
mm,
But I think I don't think we need to follow any dogma. It's like what you're feeling, obviously. But the best match, I would say, is like a projector and like a manifesting generator.
mhm,
Projector doesn't, it needs someone to like help them do all the things because they're not here to do all the work. They're here to work on the things that they want and then that they're invited to, but they can get really exhausted. And
mm,
manifesting generators are here to work and do things and the creativity and they can get things done. So it really helps projectors be like, yeah, like let's get things done, and they get all the energy that they want. And so it's a really good balance. So I'd say that's like a really good balance, projectors and manifesting generators. Generators with generators, like for example, I'm a generator, my partner's a generator as well, and we have like the same type. What do you guys know your
I just send it to you. I don't know.
Shit.
I
Look at it.
think
Ooh, okay. So Pascal is okay. Wait.
he's the left, I'm the right.
Yes. Ah, so he's a generator. He's a generator.
And I'm a manifesting
And you're a
generator.
manifesting generator. Ah, perfect. See, so like that's why like you both have the energy and the joy to do things. So you're both like, yay! Like you guys have like the same type of energy, and so you
Mhm.
guys get things done. You follow your joy, and you guys are constantly like creating new projects and just like doing what you want and like creating a really. And when you're both like doing really well together, you like amplify all the energy, and everything comes to you guys. Like it's easy. Like it's just so
Mhm.
easy, and you guys just flow through life because you're both like creating from your sacral and just like have a feminine energy to the relationship where everything's just attracted and it's just so easy and so simple. So see, those are the best matches usually when they're the same.
Perfect. Sweet. Yeah, okay, cool. So if I would meet someone now, I would come to you, ask you about our charts, and then you could tell me, okay, well, you might be more compatible or less, but those are the areas I would advise you look in deeper, and that might be something that's going to come up, but it's nothing that you can't work through. So it's not like in astrology, like I don't know, I'm making this up what I'm saying right now, but like if you're like a Scorpio, you shouldn't like date a, I don't know, Capricorn or something. Like, you know, they're like more, I mean, I'm very mainstream media influenced because I also don't have much idea about astrology, but like, you know, how they teach it us is like, what star sign works best with you? I mean, I know there's so much deeper with the houses and all the other signs. I mean, the star sign is just one little thing out of your whole chart, or your sun sign, but you know, it's like they're like, so the similar, it's you're just going to tell me, you know, there are little areas where you might be more focused on than other areas, right?
Exactly, exactly. Which I know a little bit about astrology. I'm not an astrologer, but yes, exactly. Like it's so much more complicated. I think like mainstream media and like pop media has made us be like, if you're a like what you say, like if you're a Scorpio, don't date Leo. If you're a whatever, like
Mhm.
it's not that simple. Like we're so complex and we have so many other things to us, and you have to see the whole chart. So if you come to me, exactly, I'm going to tell you what I see. If I'm going to tell you the hard things or the more the things that you guys need to work on because it's not as easy or not as flowing, but I'm going to tell you the good things and the great things about your match. And
Mm.
for anyone listening, if you want to know if someone's compatible with you or not and you don't know much about human design, look at your profile. And so I'm going to tell you, I just want to list all the little profiles and tell you what's your best match so you can know. So a 1-3 is best with a 1-3 and a 4-6. That's like the best. But they're also compatible with like 3-5, 3-6, 5-1, and 6-3. So because Pascal's a 3-6, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
I
so
think
you guys have a perfect compatible match.
my first question was like with the if the areas of the body, like the
The
centers, yeah, if they should be filled or like not filled, if that's because together our centers are completely filled.
Yes, yes, yes. So I was going to tell you about that. So if you guys, I don't know if you guys can see this. Oh my God, look. This
Yeah.
is a combined chart in human design. And with Paula and her partner, they have all 9 centers defined, which that's called, I'm forgetting the name. It's a perfect match. No, basically, you guys are like, there's no room for anyone else in your relationship
Oh,
because you guys are just, it's just like so synchronous. Like there's no room for anyone else. It's just like, here's all the energy. We're perfect.
all these other guys can go.
Basically, that's kind of what it is. It's like, it's just you and me, baby. Like, what they describe that partnership as is like you're always going to be like traveling and doing things together and like just really in sync and in tune because everything is like perfectly aligned. Because let me see if you guys have a single definition. It's in German, so that's okay. No, you guys have. Okay, let me see. Okay, no, it's okay. Okay, so you guys are split in the centers, which means that not everything is connected.
Mm-hmm.
So there is some parts of you guys that could be miscommunicated because it's not all completely flowing. Like for example,
Okay.
the top centers, like you see in the picture,
Mm-hmm.
are connected to the rest of the body.
Mm-hmm.
So, which that's Pascal's part, that's his design.
Mm-hmm.
So he like maybe he's like really in his head or he can be really anxious or he can be really like thinking about things and sometimes it he doesn't express it emotionally or he doesn't express to you as much like you may express to him because you have your solar plexus defined and he doesn't so you more may express more emotion and sometimes he can be really thinky and be really like in his head about things and really analyze a lot because he's not as emotional.
Okay. I
So
think that's so interesting. I think like I don't want to bore you guys with my with my personal chat, but like I hope you can see like how much knowledge Gabriella has. And I think like I would be so interested, and again, we're not going to bore you with it, but like dive into all of this so deeply because I think it can just be such a beautiful reflection of the relationship you're in, and it can be so 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 helpful. So I'm really grateful that I met her and that I get to like get all her knowledge about it. And I'm sure that if you're interested in this topic, you should definitely give it a go and ask her about your charts and about your relationships because I know she's going to help you so much.
well thank you guys. I am really excited to yeah, to meet you guys and if you guys have any questions here I am.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your time, guys. Bye bye.